Okay, we're back with our Constitution Hour with Colonel John Eismo, Foundation for Moral Law. But we have a question from the audience. So what was your question, sir?
My question is, how do you feel, do you feel like many other people that our Second Amendment rights are being infringed right now by this current administration? And the Second Amendment strictly says that shall not be infringed. Do you tell us about how you feel about the Second Amendment, and how we can continue to what's the best words to say? Do you feel that we not only have an administration that is trying to take away our Second Amendment rights, but we also have the UN coming in and thinking that they can take away our Second Amendment rights? Because does not the Second Amendment uphold the rest of the amendments in the Constitution?
Very good question, and I myself am a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. And there's been a controversy for a number of decades here in America as to what the Second Amendment means. It says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the well-being of a free people, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And most throughout history have understood this to be an individual right to keep and bear arms, but there has been a view that seems very contrary to the language of the Second Amendment itself, that it only protects the right of the state to maintain a state police force or a state militia, that it does not have any individual application at all. The Supreme Court several years ago in the case of District of Columbia versus Heller finally came down in a 5-4 decision and ruled that the right to keep and bear arms is an individual right. And therefore that regulation by the District of Columbia was struck down as unconstitutional. Then came the question, does the right apply to the states? And in the McDonald case, a couple years after that, the Supreme Court, again, by a 5-4 margin, struck down a ordinance of one of the Chicago suburbs concerning firearms. And by a 5-4 margin, the court says not only does this protect individuals, but it applies to the states as well as to the federal government. So the right is now being protected, but only by a 5-4 margin when it should be unanimous because it's so obvious. Now let me give you several reasons why I would say that the right to keep and bear arms is an individual right. First of all, it is in the Bill of Rights. And the Bill of Rights is speaking about individual rights. If I were to go to a constitutional law conference and present a paper in which I argue that the First Amendment guarantee of a free press just means the right to publish a state newspaper, I'd be laughed out of there. Why make that argument about the Second Amendment? Secondly, you look to the language itself, the right of the people. Now, we don't use the term people in the Bill of Rights as being synonymous with the state. And we're talking, when we speak about people, we're talking about individuals. A third thing, you notice the language that it says the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Not just the right to report to the armory when you're called up for militia duty and pick up your weapons there at the armory, but the right to keep and bear arms. Again,